So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering...
Yes, even the state of Mississippi. Hey, everybody, what's up? It's 11 o'clock. And if you see some satanic thing behind us, if you're watching this one day on your YouTube, this is the trial prueba episode, as we say here in Spain, of the way ish shit works now with Rob and Lucas. Hey, I'm Lucas. This is...
Hi, I'm Rob.
And we be chilling like villains over here because this is something that we've decided to launch. In fact, Rob, he's going to do his own little intro right now, has been manning the ships like a mother effer with the Democrats abroad. Both of us are your typical United States expat slash immigrant slash refu mother effing G's now. And what we're going to be doing here every time we get together and do this, because we're going to be throwing a lot of this mostly online, but we decided to do a little bit of this in the studio today at 11 o'clock. My name is Lucas Abram. I am an educator and a communicator and a broadcast journalist here in Spain. And I've been escaping from the United States because it is a continuously progressive thing for 15 years, almost 16 this summer. And I actually run English radio for Catalunya here out of the beautiful city of Barcelona, where we escaped to? I'll say that.
Yeah.
I think we can say that. How long have you been here, brother? Talk to the good people. And who are you, man? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Shit.
So, no, thank you so much for having me here. It's good to be in the studio. It's good to be alive in Barcelona.
On a sunny day, even though it's brisk as hell outside, but it's a beautiful day out here today.
Absolutely. I'll take it over a New York winter any day. So I'm Rob, a.k.a. Bobby from the Bronx, a.k.a. Biden's burner account, a.k.a. Rob Solves America.
By the way, you can follow all that ish as well on Instagram. So everything he just said.
Certainly can.
And we'll be throwing this out anyway.
So I did, event planning for years and years and years. I did 1 million Get Out the Vote events for our Barcelona team. I helped
Thank you for
communications. That. Oh, no. It didn't work. But nope, no, it's important.
We got our millions of votes out there from abroad. It's just
we did. It was important work, and it was work worth doing. And I've done a lot of communication stuff, content creation and whatnot. And so you and I are kind of like similar in how we feel about things and just entrepreneurial and creatives. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this.
And weird backgrounds as well, because both of these beautiful bitches you see in front of you, children, although from very different backgrounds, have New York roots. Mm-hmm. And were raised incredibly well. Okay, I was raised extreme right. Okay, before there was Trumpism or Tea Party crap in the 80s or the 2000s, this child was growing up at abortion rallies, like anti-abortion rallies at clinics, saying "murderer" when I was 6 with my parents.
6.
Child.
I don't have the benefit of having been indoctrinated at youth. I stupidly chose republicanism in my 20s, like any straight white male does now. And then I realized it was bullshit after a few years, and then evolved into other things. Wow. Libertarianism was a little bit of a humiliating time in my life.
I think libertarian's like a layover, like bisexualville, before you just say,
"Hey,
I'm Democrat liberal." But what is this thing that? Okay, can I? For folks, basically, what we're going to be doing, bringing you when we record and throw out all our little videos, we're going to be doing this through Insta. We're going to be doing, for now, a little bit of Meta through Blue Sky, through many channels, specifically through YouTube as well, and sometimes in the studio, sometimes out of the studio. But what we're launching here in our independent strive of independent media, that is a democratic, loving independent media, is to bring you, in layman's terms, Beautiful bitch session from two people who know what they're talking about because we have covered the spectrum in different continents, and we actually love people. And we see a lot of ish going down that is not good. 11:11 on the clock as I speak. And what we're going to be bringing you is a layman's version of what the hell is going on because things are working in a very different way now. And Rob and Lukey are here to help. That's why, and $sign. We're going to be, this is just our promo that we had to throw up some kind of logo in the background. It's either the satanic looking one or the hey girl looking one. So I chose Satan because,
That's fine.
Hail Satan.
Hey,
but
hail
I'm
Satan.
kidding. Children of the Corn, I'm kidding.
Definitely
I'm just saying
a joke.
that. Okay.
Definitely a joke.
But talk to me about why in your 20s, puppy, before we deep dive into our first topic, which will be President Elon Musk. Oh, God, save America.
He's the president.
Why in your 20s did you think you just dove into that? Did you think, because you said like any typical white boy, but none of my white brothers are. So what happened?
Oh, God bless him.
And they were from Texas.
It really didn't make any sense. It was just, at the time, I grew up in a sort of liberal Democrat household, a working class Democrat household in the Bronx. I look like this in the Bronx. That's part of my upbringing.
Folks, if you don't know what that means, look it up.
And then I went through college. I actually took a pretty crazy journey in college. I voted for Ralph Nader in college. I've been everywhere on the spectrum of political mistakes and political learning. But I learned, like, my superpower is learning from my mistakes, right? That's sort of why I think like I'm pretty well suited to do these conversations. And when I was that young, I don't know. I felt that sense that these people now getting duped are feeling, which is like, what is the Democratic Party doing for me? I have problems too. And I just was lazy and didn't bother to look up like anything having to do with civics, anything having to do with legislation being passed, anything having to do with attempted legislation being passed. And then when I started doing the homework on how shit works, realized this isn't for me. The Republican Party, like, I believed in, hey, let's have more freedom. Hey, let's end this drug war. This horrible drug war I saw in front of my face in the Bronx.
Yeah.
A kid in my neighborhood got his head clobbed in by the fucking cops. By the cops.
You can say
young.
that, actually. Welcome to Spain.
Thank God. And it just, like, I kept seeing these horrible things, and I was like, yeah, okay, freedom from this kind of, like, repression would be a good thing. But then...
But why? Can I ask you? I'm breaking in all the time.
Yeah,
why
please.
did you think it was the repression that was coming from Democrat leadership?
Not necessarily that. I just meant that they didn't speak to me in my life journey. Whereas...
What was speaking to you in your life journey at that time?
Freedom from the drug war, lower taxes, even though I made like 20 grand a year. The Constitution, this obsession with the Constitution.
So basically, you had drunk some Kool-Aid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, there's nothing. I read the books. I read the Hannity books. I read the Mark Levin books.
You did not.
Unfortunately,
in your
did.
20s?
Unfortunately,
Hannity?
I did.
Oh my God.
No, don't worry. They've all been used as fire kindling so far.
Well, let's get into the fire kindling because that's what we want to do. Because the first thing that my brother, when we were going through this in the last weeks, frankly, but we're slowly pulling out of any weird depression, I guess. I'm not going to say depression. You know what? It's righteous indignation that's turned into fuel the fire. So the first thing that you chose, though, and when we reordered this, was to dive into President Elon Musk.
President Musk. We have to be careful what we say. The right-wingers love to sue. President Musk, who totally gives his heart out to everyone, unintentionally, with no other motives whatsoever.
And just wears it on his sleeve.
Wears it on his sleeve, and and he's so excited. He has to just tell everyone. I guess my issue with that, where we go into, you had a very fascinating article that I'd love to discuss with you more, but my problem is that the anti-deep state party is now letting the richest guy in the world and the biggest government contractor take a secret team of insoles, eugenics lovers, and negligent kids rifling through our personal, private, sensitive information that the U.S. government keeps, and they're locking congressmen out of the building while they do it.
This is what I want to talk about, because maybe people who are going to be seeing this, and certainly when we're snipping this and clipping this and putting all this out into Al Gore's interwebs, what are we talking about? Because people don't realize that just 3 days ago, not even, well, actually 3 or 4 days ago, the huge of thousands and thousands and thousands of Democrats and people who were supporting this were standing outside the United States Treasury building because the Oversight Committee had not been allowed to go in there while Elon Musk had led a group of a band of 19 to 23-year-old children, several of them who had truly just graduated months before from high school, with they have no clearance to go in there and do this.
I mean, it's possible.
What are they doing, though? What are they doing? Explain to the people what they're doing,
Well,
man.
it's possible Donald Trump, in one of his 1,000 executive orders, did something or other to be very vague. But honestly, I don't know what they're doing. That's the point. That's the entire point, that, like, there is no oversight of this. There is no open information of this. They do something, and then this guy tweets that, oh, we found a bunch of fraud. No, you just found stuff you don't like.
Well, he also tweeted us just before we came on here, early here in Barcelona, there in the States, that the Department of Education is no more. It no longer exists.
That's not how anything works.
He tested that just a few hours ago, before we come here live into studio. So one of the things that I would like to say is the United States Treasury Department is the Treasury Department that not only cuts the checks to everybody who's on any type of aid, whether it is your Social Security when you retire, Medicaid, Medicare, all of the functionary civil servants that we have, which are millions and millions and hundreds of thousands are being cut, apparently, although there's been an injunction by a judge to stop all of these ridiculous firings that had been commenced by the Trump administration, the current Trump administration, that has been stopped and overruled by, one specific judge, but several throughout the country. However, the Department of Treasury has been taken over by, which controls trillions, has been taken over by the world's richest man and his minions of 19 to 23-year-olds. Now,
the world's richest man and one of the biggest government contractors.
From South Africa. He's an African. And I want to get into a little bit of that, if you would permit me to talk about that. Como es diu? Oh my God, did I just say something in Catalan to an international audience?
Very good.
The Financial Times report that I just have to bring up here, because this has been something that I have been bitching upon on my show, The Club with Lucas, which you can also follow on Instagram, and at RCE 106.9 FM on YouTube to watch it with your peepholes. But something came up over the holidays that really suppressed my rage that I was feeling, and impressed me because Elon Musk, until he was almost 18, his full childhood rather, and educationhood in South Africa, was raised in apartheid South Africa until he was 17.
His formative years.
That's right. David Sachs, a venture capitalist who has now become one of the main fundraisers for Donald Trump and a troll of Ukraine, left as he was starting elementary school. He was part of a South African diaspora family in Tennessee. Peter Thiel spent years of his childhood, the majority of it, in South Africa and then in Namibia, where his father was involved in uranium mining as part of the apartheid regime's clandestine drive to acquire nuclear weapons and things of that ilk to then build them. And then Paul Ferber, who's an obscure South African software developer and tech journalist. He was living near Johannesburg forever and ever, and has now been identified by two teams of forensic linguists as the originator of the QAnon conspiracy. These four men... He, of course, denies this. This is alleged, but
alleged.
He denies this, but these four men have helped shape the modern Trump MAGA movement. Now, four of them, white South Africans, are shaping this. And as we all know, just about 16, 17 days ago at the inauguration ball, all pun intended.
Oh, they were all there.
All the balls were there, especially on the front row. He did his salute. About, I want to say 14 minutes after
the rally,
the ketamine rolling in came in, and you can watch that on video as well. And Elon Musk did the Roman salute, they're calling it, but we all know is the Shig Heil.
Come on.
And
don't trust your lion eyes, Lucas.
No, I'm not trusting my lion eyes. I'm going to tell you what, motherfucker. I'm going to tell you what. But he did it 2 times. So we have a group of 4 South Africans who are in line with an obvious... leaning white supremacist president that we have in the United States of America.
Seems that way.
And these mother effers have taken over the government.
Like, in the most insane way possible. Like, I remember during the Obama years being like, anti-imperial presidency. The president shouldn't get to do anything he wants. Congress. And now it's like, Yeah, we're going to let a bunch of 20-year-olds that follow Elon that he retweets into the Treasury Department and
the Treasury that controls, by the way, everybody. They have access to all of your information because guess what else gets filed through that? Taxes.
right, all your taxes.
And if you get any money back, it goes to there. If you have to pay anything, it goes to there. So they have access to 340 million. Well, not that children have filed taxes, hopefully. Well, we do have some child labor. You can be 14 working in several states.
Republicans love that, so we'll have a lot more over the next 4 years.
And where can you be 14 working in certain states? Well, you can be working in a meat packing industry plant. You can be working in several plants, actually, for that.
Coal
you can
miners.
be 16. I'm proud to be a coal miner's daughter, I'm going to tell you what. But you can also be 16 working on construction sites in the United States. So this is the world that we have entered into Donald Trump's new America. Now, the layout of the myth of him as an intelligent businessman is the thing, because I would just want to remind everybody, in case you don't already know. Oh, that makes me want to flow. But in case you don't already know, this mother effer did not make PayPal. Elon Musk did not. He acquired it and got himself in there. Just as he did with Tesla, just as he did with SpaceX, just as he's done with Twitex and run it into the ground. I want to remind everybody that 2 years ago, Twitter, or now 2.5 years ago, Twitter was a company that, amassed between 4 and 5 billion of profit. That was it, a year. Since he took it over, he has hemorrhaged most of the major sponsors, and they make about 2 to 3 billion a year, and he bought it for 44 billion.
He overpaid by double, I think. That's what he
Double?
leaked.
11 times, child.
I assume so, because why is Twitter worth anything when it's a Nazi fest? You know what I mean? Like,
But what we have, too, are two white supremacists who have aligned themselves. Trump, who needs the money, because we know he's broke as a joke. And anybody who comes from New York, we have known this ish for years, for decades. In fact, when
Very
his
familiar.
wife, who suspiciously died the day before she had to testify in front of the grand jury of Letitia James in the United States, in New York, in the department, Southern District, I believe, of New York. She died the year before that. But when she stepped down from running the casinos that were over all over Atlantic City, New Jersey, that is when, within months to years, all of them had crashed. Because she was the one who was running them through the successful
I didn't know
time.
that.
Yeah.
That's the wife he
That's
buried
what
on his
happened.
golf course? Or just
This is the
outside of
thing,
it?
and you know what? This came up at my club night last night because Children of the Corn, we were recording this, and about 7.5 hours ago, I was. And before that, we were talking about how, her suspiciously dying by falling down some stairs at 73 when she'd just been socializing that same night or the night before. She was a very healthy woman, and she was also the size of. She probably came up to not even my shoulder. She was a very young woman. I mean, very petite woman. And she was buried, and apparently there were 10 pallbearers that had to carry her casket.
I did see that.
And on top of that, when you are a woman of 5'2" stature, I mean, this bitch was, sorry, this woman was shorter than Prince, okay? And we all know that typically you're going to have 4, 6, or 8 pallbearers. 10? And apparently, it was because it was incredibly heavy, whatever was in there. And sister was not that big, but she was buried under a tree in his New Jersey resort.
With the classified documents. Kidding.
This is what I
kidding.
question. But with the myths of these intelligent businessmen who have run companies into the ground, Elon Musk only got to where he was because of Department of Defense contracts that he had acquired through the first Trump administration, the Putin regime, and of course with President Xi. All of this is what has amassed his wealth. 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, he was not in the top 10, not top 20 list of the richest men. Now to be listed at 340 billion, is insanity. But they also they acquire shit and they run companies into the ground, or they pay to have their name, as Trump has done for decades, on buildings he does not own.
Well, the reason we're sort of flowing back and forth is that they're sort of President Musk and Vice President Trump are very similar people with very similar stories. Both of them, first of all, tell me how you're a CEO of 3 companies and all you do is tweet all day. When do you do your effing job? Go to a board meeting.
Hundreds of tweets a day.
Every single day, both of
And
them.
bloody Trump with his truthing.
What's happening? Isn't the president busy?
The president of the United States of America.
tweeting all day.
I love
And
Jasmine
truthing all
Crockett.
day, whatever.
Jasmine Crockett, queen out of...
She's my champion.
Oh,
She's
Jesus.
without my champion.
I love you, lady. We're going to have you, please, and inshallah, on this pod. But she said
Real
the other
easy on the
day,
eyes, too.
you can... Wonderful woman. You can decide who's your king and who's your queen between Elon Musk and President Trump.
Don't forget.
Friday, yeah, the new Time magazine has Elon Musk sitting behind the Resolute desk. And so, of course, I think it was Caitlin Collins or someone from Fox, either them or Caitlin Collins. I love that heifer. Shout out. She's so amazing. But
Got some stars in the party.
But Caitlin Collins or someone from Fox, one of the others, Caitlin is on CNN, asked him, how do you feel about this new magazine that's been released with Elon, sitting behind the Resolute desk? And he said, Time magazine? I didn't know they were still in business. 6 weeks ago, he was thanking them for putting them for doing such incredible journalistic work and for putting them on the cover of Time magazines for Person of the Year.
This is a guy that pays people to play video games for him so that he can, Mr. President Musk, pay. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. Please Google that. That he got busted paying people to run up his score in some video game, who the hell knows, so that he can brag about how good he is at the video game.
Which sidelines, actually, with when Donald Trump used to call the people over at, was it Fortune magazine, Forbes, and pretend to be an assistant of Trump to declare how much money he was worth.
Yeah, but he used to do that. He would put on a voice. You know, Mr. Trump is actually much more valuable than you're saying. And it'd be him, like calling the
Folks,
actual.
the videos are on YouTube. You can hear him mocking up with terrible.
The audio,
one of
yeah.
them, he actually claims that Madonna wants to date him, which. She had some choice words to say about that one. But it's the layout of these myths of the intelligent businessmen that still attract, it was a 48 to 47. He got over 48% of the voting. She got over 47. But when you add her 47 to the 5 almost percent that did not vote, we have 52% of the country that did not vote for that man.
80 million people stayed home.
Plus 80 million people who stayed home and didn't vote at all, which is travesty.
Yeah. Do not judge America by our shitty choice of president by 1.5%.
Or by the
popular
new
vote,
Time
please.
magazine cover, loves. Although, actually, there is truth to that. And so, what is it that, before we move into
Yeah.
a new topic,
We're excited.
What do you think
We're
that
amped.
means that scores of millions of people have bought into this as these failed businessmen as the opus, to the thing to be?
I might have some insights on that as a
Please.
former Republican and Libertarian.
Tell the good
so
people,
embarrassing.
loves.
So embarrassing.
Tell the good people.
So, it's part the American dream in certain people's heads, where really what the American dream is building a better life for you and your family and having the ability to do so. That got warped into, I can be a billionaire too.
And really, that's everybody's dream.
Right. Hey, listen, I want to be
know-
a billionaire. If you don't want to be a billionaire, what's wrong with you?
I don't want to be a billionaire because of all of
I
the
wanna
ish
be a
that goes by. But a millionaire? Yeah, sure. That's what we're working towards that.
Listen, you know how much hell I could make for fascists if I was a billionaire? I would just spend every dime of it on that.
Here's the thing.
Oh my god.
Why don't our billionaires do this?
Some
We're
do,
going
some
through
don't.
this right now. We're going through this right now with a country in which we reside because there is this movement now to start taking more from the top. And following the Biden structure, actually, where the first, 150,000 is charged or whatever, and then it's the stuff after that would increase, into a larger tax bracket. But there are places over here, for example, the leagues of football, which make billions a year, they don't pay income tax.
I guess my problem is with the people that are super rich is that I understand wanting to lighten your tax burden seems fine. Companies do it all the time. What our rich people in America want to do is pay zero taxes. What the rich people in America want to do is totally break the backs of organized labor. What the rich people in America want to do is fundamentally change the system in America into a Squid Game meets feudalism Wild West society. And they're hacks for it. It's a joke. It's not about, hey, let me get a slightly lower marginal tax rate and I'll invest that. Yeah, where did all that trickle down?
By the way, start investing in gold and silver as you can. Children of the Corn, that is not I'm just saying that. That is not any inside trading, okay? I'm just saying.
It's just good
Note
advice.
that.
It's just
It
good
is
advice,
good advice.
you know?
Okay, we're going to throw on a interesting little jam that is part of the public domain because I don't want any drama for this trial episode. But it is actually called Wake Up America. And it was recorded by a gentleman, a singer named George Graff Jr. We are totally throwing you back to 100 and help me do the math here. 109 years ago.
Oh, I'm terrible at
It's a World War I anthem. So we're going back to 1916 for this one. Okay. Just a little minute. It's called Wake Up America by George Graff Jr. And then we're going to come back and talking about social media as an uncontrolled evil children of the corn. We'll be right back.
Everything old is new again.
Have we forgotten America, the battles our fathers fought? Are we ashamed of our history in the peace that fighting brought? Must we be laughed at, America, while our souls turn weak with wrath? Is the blood of our fathers wasted? And how have we treated the cross? Is Columbia the gem of the ocean? Is Old Glory the pride of the free? Let's forget every selfish emotion. United forever, let's be. Wake up, America. If we are called to war, are we prepared to give our lives?
Why can't you just wake up, America?
feel like I'm in an
You
episode of-
know?
I feel like I'm in an episode of Boardwalk Empire. That's pretty
Oh, I
old.
feel like we're all in an episode of Boardwalk. And this is the way ish shit works now because it's working differently, children. Welcome to 2025. The ish is real. Now, speaking of social media, mom, fresh fruit compote. Unfortunately, it is an uncontrolled but necessary
evil?
that is utilized sometimes. You can use it for your benefit. I work as a creative and stuff that I launch. I mean, it has helped me build my audience. It has helped me build so much of what I do in reference to a lot of events and things. I mean, what I'm going to be doing right after this when we record this. Right. So it is utilized, especially when we are, you know, if you're a refugee, immigrant, expat from a country, it is a wonderful way to stay in touch with people. The thing is, when social media threw up, was again thrown into Al Gore's interwebs, it was all in plan como, it was like literally MySpace. And this was 2004, 5, 6, and then by 8, 9, we had Twitter and Facebook, and it's gone on and on and on. Now, all of the social media giants have gone over to have a little chupa chup lollipop session with Trump at Sea and Lake, Florida. And do you know how easy it would be to storm that compound? But they've gone over there. They've gone over there. Look it up, children. They've gone over there. I had to. Jesus told me to do it. He tells me to do a lot of things. But they go over there.
Not Jesus, I promise.
Hence the red and black children. But they go over there and they do this. And the one that really hurt me was my Jewish brother, Mark Zuckerberg, can really suck it. Because we all know he's a tool. But to then come out the next day after that with his black muumuu, I mean, it kept reminding me of Homer in that episode when he gains weight to not have to go to work.
Oh, yeah.
And has the audacity to tell people...
Masculine energy, where's it all? Where's the masculine energy? Tell about the masculine energy. Yo, my man, Zuck, oh, boy. I have oftentimes, I don't know who I loathe more. I don't. Like, I'm always sitting there like, wow, Elon's just like retweet. Oh, Elon retweeted another eugenicist. That's pretty bad. But then I go, Zuckerberg is the reason Trump's even president. They had to put fact-checking on Facebook because there were genocides.
And now he comes out and says that's being taken down.
Right.
So fact-checking, background checking, that is not happening anymore. You can actually refer to your wife on Meta platforms as a domestic a household object. Ha 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 ha. And this comes right out the bat of the win where we have many, and I mean thousands of reports of little boys between 10 and 13 and beyond going up to their female counterparts at school saying, "Your body, my choice," as thrown out by
Heard some
Ben
of this.
Shapiro.
Yeah. No, the Nick Fuentes.
It was Nick
Excuse me.
Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes was
Excuse
the guy.
me.
So that's who the young boys
And
are
also,
admiring.
Nick Fuentes, let me remind you your name, Nicolas Fuentes.
Yeah.
Okay? Because that is your name, mother effer. You are Latino, and we all know it. It's just because you look a certain way, and I might look a certain way, but you are Latino, Nicolas Fuentes. You need to remember that shit, you stupid idiot.
It's a big club and he ain't in it.
Child.
The
And-
racists love people that aren't white to tell them how much better white people are than minorities.
They also love the vote of idiots like Nicolas Fuentes and so many of our, whether they're black, Latino, Asian, Muslim brothers and sisters who voted for this because, well, it's going to be something different. And now look at, you know how we say FAFO?
Yeah,
Is it FAFO?
yeah.
F around and find out. But this is one thing when you are, as we are, forever. I am forever 39.
Me too.
And my brother's 39 as well. And so when you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and you've been using social media for 15, 20, 25 years, if you remember Napster and things of that nature, I mean, you are developed. We grew up reading. We grew up, necessitating internet and computers, but we also had the downtime. What we have, though, are these 10 to 25-year-olds who have only ever had these screens in their faces. And do they think, when we talk about an uncontrolled evil, it is no longer, you cannot control it. You cannot control it. So what the hell is this for our future is my concern when we're raising a bunch of wannabe megalomaniacal narcissists.
And their feeds. By the way, people who don't trust big tech certainly love their algorithms curated for them by big tech. The big tech oligarchs that you couldn't possibly trust because one of them donated $1 to a Democrat once. You just can't trust them. But now their entire feed is controlled by the same people.
Ooh,
And
I said, Jesus.
that's totally gospel.
I said, Jesus. And this is the thing that gives me that righteous
Sucks.
indignation, man, because all of them now have gone and done the chupa chup with him. So Zuckerberg has thrown himself to the right.
A little.
Bezos, has gone over to... And then please look up the videos at the inauguration of Zuckerberg sitting next to his homegirl, his wife, staring at Jeff Bezos' new wife's titties.
Hard not to stare, but definitely a terrible idea.
This is true.
Terrible
But
thing.
it also bothers me that this Latino couple is sitting there amongst this riffraff. Because, again, they're with all the billions. When we put Musk, Bezos, and I forget the other one, Zuckerberg, together, their income is the typical income of more than most European states. In fact, I believe it totals up to exactly the income of Spain every year, about $1.56 trillion. That's what their income, just the three of them.
My favorite part about their income, though, is that they're done paying their Social Security obligations by January 8th, about. So, like, when we're all taxed to pay into the Social Security system, they're capped on their incomes on how much they actually have to contribute. So when you hear Republicans screaming about Social Security it's insolvent, you can't actually work. Yeah, try taxing a billionaire at a reasonable rate once. It's pretty ridiculous.
That just pissed me off even more. I'll suppress the rage I'm feeling. So
I sound like something. I mean, I'm not some committed socialist or anything like that. I'm just seeing with my own eyes
how socialist
Kleptocracy.
democracy helps. Because let me tell you, I have private insurance, Children of the Corn, that covers complete mental, dental, and body of medical insurance, and I pay 666. I pay 67 euros a month for that.
Well, somebody made a
Not
good
to
point.
mention that I also get, excuse me really quickly, free healthcare from my Catalan Salut under Spain's banner laws. I get free Cat Salute as well. So I have several doctors, one for free, two for free actually, and a nurse, and then one that I pay €66 for a year. Please, sir.
No, I mean, I'm just gonna
Because we're getting off the path of the social media
a
shit,
little
by the
bit,
way.
but
Yeah.
it's just I'll circle it back to it. The fact that social media convinces people of things that aren't true all the time, and one of the things social media convinces people that aren't true all the time is that universal healthcare is a bad thing. It's you go on there, these right wing pages, guys in studios like this, more expensive, telling you, the working class people, that it's impossible to have healthcare coverage. It's impossible to have you have to pay $50,000 to have a baby. That's the only way the system works, and it's BS. I used to believe this BS. That's why I'm an authority on spotting the BS. Wow. And if universal healthcare was so horrible, I just don't understand why no countries have trashed it. Like, it was this horrible country-destroying thing. Why has it been... Okay, we can't do this anymore. This is terrible. Roll it Spain's. We'll roll it back. Nobody likes it. It's a terrible thing. It's not working.
We'll roll it back. We'll do it live. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
So that's all. That I bring that into there is that, like, people are being convinced of myths in social media, and one of the biggest ones is that you have to go bankrupt if you get sick. And that's the thing about America is that you're playing the lottery. You're basically playing the I hope I don't get sick lottery in America. And you have a lot of opportunities. But the minute you come down with something serious, you're going bankrupt. It's as simple as that. Like, if you have a, Lord forbid, terminal condition, don't dare have a baby without health insurance. Don't you dare have a baby without health insurance.
Though those types of circumstances then mitigated by the fact that a huge plurality of the new voting population, certainly those 18 to 30-year-olds, have no idea truly what's going on. And if they're only fed right-wing media from social media and things of that nature, i.e., TikTok being owned by the vice president of the Chinese Communist Party.
TikTok.
Twitter feeding you this shite. Now Zuckerberg all in line with it as well. There is no way, much as we do here in Spain, we do not have any left-wing major newspapers in Spain. We have one centrist, one was El País, and
Seems
a little bit of
unbalanced.
Vanguardia, but we have no left papers. Everything is right. And only one of them, El País, has 12 female editors and 12 male editors. So that's kind of the one I gravitate towards to, just in the essence of DEI. I'm kidding. Or am I? We're going to throw another thing on. I just wanted children to know. I want people to know, if you don't know, that approximately, and it really depends on region, obviously, and things of that nature, the age, but the average Western kid spends easily between 3 and 8 hours a day on social media.
Wow. Really?
Okay. And in communist China, they have 40-minute caps on these types of apps where the child can go in after his 10-hour day at school, or 12, and they have 40 minutes, and the minute it passes into 40, it shuts down for 24 hours, and they cannot sign back into these apps. Meanwhile, while we call this Generation Z shit, I want people to know that Z has now become zombie. So we have a bunch of Generation Zombies going on. And when the average age to leave your house right now in Catalonia is between 32 and 33 to move out of your parents' house, that doesn't necessarily bode well for the future when my ass wants to retire in 30 years, in 25 years and 30, because will that population have the intestinal fortitude, the wherewithal, the business mindset to run countries when everything's been en plan como tipo literalmente tía?
Right, if they're drinking raw milk and they think climate change is fake, how good are they going to be at running
And that's your new Health and Human Services. Listen, I'm going to throw on a little bit of Tori Sparks doing Leonard Cohen's.
She's great.
Everybody knows. Folks, we're going to be right back with a little bit of the myths of MAGA and some Judeo-Christianity.
Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros esta noche. Everybody knows that the dice are loaded. Everybody rolls with their fingers crossed. Everybody knows the war is over. Everybody knows the good guy is lost. Everybody knows that the fight was fixed. The poor stay poor. The rich get rich, that's how it goes. Yes, and everybody knows. Now everybody knows that the boat is leaking. Everybody knows that the captain lied. Everybody got this broken feeling, like their father or their dog just died. Everybody's talking to their pockets. Everybody wants a box of chocolates and a long stem road. Yes, and everybody knows. Now everybody knows that must you love me, baby? Everybody knows that you really do. Everybody knows that you've been faithful. Or give or take your wife or two. Everybody knows that you've been discreet. There were so many people you just had to meet without your clothes. Yes, and everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. That's how things go. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. That's how things go. Everybody knows. Now everybody knows that it's now or never. Everybody knows that it's me or you. And everybody...
Because everybody does know kids. And what I want to know, Rob, because Lucas did not change his university degree because of conspiratorial episodes of The X-Files. Yes, he did. And so I'm really curious about some of these myths of MAGA that you've been talking about behind the scenes of the Gangsta Lean with me. Talk to me about that, please. 'Cause
Well, again,
you know me.
I used to fall for better liars telling better lies in the Republican Party back when I was a younger man. And the idea is that because...
Now they're shitty liars. They're
I mean,
so
the worst,
obvious.
the dumbest liars that you've ever seen in your life. And it's a big pet peeve of mine.
And it's a
I hate being lied to.
Child,
Are you treating me like I'm a
I will
effing idiot?
cut you up.
Like, and I've gotten
Bronx.
I've gotten punched because of this. Like, because stop lying in my face. I'm not a friggin' idiot.
Well, he was also white in the Bronx, you guys.
Right. That was
You got
ages
punched for
10
that,
to
too.
18. I got into some fights. Definitely. Unfortunately. So, myths, though. Myths. And the problem with what the Republican Party does is that it is entirely dependent on mis and disinformation and lies. So the myths have become jumbled nonsense. So it was about meritocracy, and about constitutional conservatism and fiscal conservatism, and you have to elect the party that's good for the economy. The Republicans are great for the economy, you know.
Screw those Republicans, man. I can't. And I'm sorry, but I feel this way with the right in general because we have the same shite here. I'm sorry. I went on a tangent. It's the same shit here in Spain.
I agree.
I just really quickly side note, teacher talking time. Spain was the fastest growing economy of the 212 states in the world last year. 3.5% growth in Spain. Under the tutelage and leadership of Mr. Lipschitz, Pedro Sanchez, but the Socialist Party that he mandates has the lowest ratings of approvals in the history of this country. While the country has the strongest economy in Europe, he has and this is the same shit that happened with Biden. With this mentality that the El PP and El Junts pel Gat will help us run the finances better when all they have done is steal. The last time
And cause recessions.
Booyah.
Cause recessions. Every single
wars.
time a Republican pulls
And
some
wars.
Republican shit. Like, hey, let's deregulate the savings and loan industry. Recession. Hey, let's deregulate the mortgages industry. Great recession. Hey, let's do nothing to try to prevent COVID from spreading. Depression. I mean, these
even though he
ideas are
fast
horrible.
marked the operation, whatever it was called.
The one good thing that he ever did was say, hey, can you make vaccines a little quicker? Great. Check.
And you know what? What we learned, folks, and for all those conspiracy weirdos out there, the reason why they had been already do this, by the way, Michael Crichton wrote about a coronavirus strain in the Andromeda strain in 1979. You can look it up, okay? So we already have this shit. But since 2004, they have been working on vaccines of coronavirus. When this happened, every single clinic and pharmaceutical company shut down anything else they were doing on research and only focused on this. All right, this is why that development happened, because all the developers around the world only focused on that.
Wait a minute. You mean there's no microchips in it, and it's going to give you 5G?
I'm sorry, but I have a little bit of Melinda Gates flowing right in my nipple right here.
I also want to talk about why this goes into such a, because we were talking the other day last week, and you mentioned Christian nationalists, and I had to throw in, well, very few people are as Christian or Catholic as blacks and Latinos, so it's a white Christian nationalist.
Yeah, it's a white
thing that is
problem
coming.
exclusively. Christian nationalism is not happening in black churches in the South. It's
Charles.
happening in mega structure evangelical churches that bring in $1 million a day in tithings.
And there are a couple of them that my family's been tied into one of them that you absolutely despise. But with the Osteen family for years.
Well, I'm a born and raised Catholic. I'm
And
baptized
so
and confirmed Catholic.
there is
I get
a
it.
love I have for a lot of that. And in our country of Spain, Caritas, which is the Catholic charity organization here, does as much and in some regions more than the local government does for people, for feeding and sheltering the people. Caritas does that. So I can't even front them here in Spain and Italy because they do more than the government does for the poor folk, or as much as sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there are very good things.
There
and
are
it's-
great Christians,
absolutely.
but this
The ism is turning into it's melding too much with theocracy in the States. In the States, Christian nationalism is turning America into a theocratic movement, which infects the Republican myth of the Department of Education is bad. No, it's not, actually. The Department of Education handles special needs kids and kids with learning disorders, accommodations, and tools to actually bring them up to a level to learn with the rest of their classes.
student education on the spectrum when you're dealing with Asperger's, like Musk apparently has, or autism. I mean, this is what they do. And according to Musk a couple of hours ago, it no longer exists. And so when we make this type of thing a states' rights issue, which has, unconstitutional again, the thing is, we have already in Florida, if you are a junior, senior, you cannot learn about African American studies. You can learn about Japanese American studies. You can learn about Irish American studies if you want. You cannot learn about African American studies as a high schooler in Florida. In Texas, they are teaching in certain school districts gentle version of the Holocaust, where some of the SS officers actually were friends with the Jewish captives.
Are they assuming kids are snowflakes and they can't hear about history? Germany teaches their kids history. My problem is that they, again, MAGA myths, Republican myths, they like to use phrases that don't actually mean what they're saying, like school choice. What they really mean is demolishing public education so you have no school choice but a Christian theocrat school or a corporatist school, corporatist charter school that has literally never turned a profit. Mm-hmm. Like, my thing is crazy is that you're the free market people and you want to give taxpayer money to education systems that have literally never turned a profit.
Run by a president who ran casinos that only dealt with cash in the 70s, 80s, and 90s into the ground.
Into the ground.
How do you deal a
Into the
casino
ground.
that only makes money? I mean, the casino in Barcelona has been open for about 200 fucking years or some shit like that. How do you run a casino of only money and mafia? Let's be real, it's Atlantic City, bitches. Look
Probably.
it up. Into the ground. Come on. So here's the other thing then. Why do so many of these people believe it? And I have a theory about this, and I'm going to put my historian, sociologist hat on right now. And when you can convince billions of people that a little Jewess of between 12 and 14 was miraculously impregnated
Oh, yeah. That old gag.
and gave us the Christ child, who's a Jew, by the way. All you Christians, I want you to remember, you pray to a Jew. Yeah, I know you hate Jews, but you pray to a Jew because Jesus was a motherfucking Jew. We're everywhere, people. And they've convinced billions of people to believe this, the grandest of lies, that she was Immaculate Conception. And the only Immaculate collection I want is Madonna's 1990 record. Because when you can convince people to believe this, then it's easy to dupe them. And then when you are on the precipice of that Christian, belief, everything that's in the Bible is true, so we are right. So everything that we say is truth, and you are wrong. And it creates this narcissistic mentality of, I can only be right because God has said it. Jesus, it's in the Bible. In fact, we even say in the church, they used to say in the church, God said it, it's in the Bible, I believe it.
But
enough.
tell me how tens of millions of people believe in immaculate conception. Fine, but then ignore the teachings of the adult man. Like, so, like, okay, we celebrate this, fine, that's great. It's a tenement of your spirituality and your lifestyle, great. Go listen to what he said. Go listen to what Christ said, what Christ taught. For once, any of these people, and what I mean leaders, I'm not talking about just normal people that just go to church and try to live a good, honest Christian life. I'm talking about leaders that grift money and use their positions of power to try to spread hate and grift money.
And sell Bibles in Oklahoma, where they've now passed an ordinance where every public school has to have the Trump Bible in it. Public school.
Your tax dollars. Trump Bibles.
And in some states, I think it's Florida as well, in every public university, you have to have the 10 Commandments on display. And if it's a big auditorium, they have to be big enough for you to read them from the back. I know that might just be Oklahoma as well right now.
Oklahoma's its
This
own
is
universe.
where it's going to hell in a handbasket. By the way, Oklahoma's 50th in education and 49th in healthcare.
You understand why when a political party makes part of its identity attacking public education, why public education performs poorly. Everything's a conspiracy to these people. The teachers' unions that just want to get a living wage are in a conspiracy, and the doctors that want to just stop spreading a pandemic are in a conspiracy, and the global scientific community of experts agreeing that mankind is having a negative impact on the planet is also a conspiracy.
Well, and let's talk about this one more thing before we sign out, because we do have to jump
We're all
out
over the
now.
place.
But we talk about this man issue, even with Zuckerberg and the joke about that we need more masculine energy on Meta. They can't even articulate so many of these white brothers and these Trumper brothers, whether they're Latinos. There's a shitload of Latinos. And
Usually
you can go fuck
griftfluencers
off
on
too,
social
my
media.
brothers. But, and God bless you, come into the fold. We love you. And you will never, ever be white. Trust. Why they can't articulate what they're mad at when they're trying to, these manly men who are emasculating themselves for a delusional crybaby Nepo man-child.
It's exactly what it is. Accepting somebody's pathological lies is emasculating yourselves. And to even further
Child,
step,
testify.
to an even further step,
Amen, brother.
every Republican in power has to let Donald Trump fuck their wives. That's the energy you get from them.
It's
every single
so
one.
sad.
Well, when Donald Trump said that the senator actually coached Mahomes, would he really? Shut up! Like,
It is
stop.
covering and covering and covering. So this goes back to something that my girl Whoopi Goldberg says about the spineless.
Whoop
They're spineless.
Whoopi Goldberg. They are
Absolutely spineless.
Absolutely spineless. Like, and just for a job, bro. Just for a job. America has like the best unemployment numbers in 40 years. Your stocks your 401ks and all this are doing better than ever. It's never.
Well, they were doing better.
Well, until
they've
like-
been like this and then that and then
Well,
this. And
let 5 more planes fly out of the sky and a stupid trade war happen. Good for the economy, by the way.
Okay, we're
Great
going to
for the
stop with
economy.
this. We're going to stop with
Yes.
the way shit works now, but I'm going to tell you this. Under Biden's administration, there was not one plane crash or choque in 4 years. There have been 4 now? In 2 weeks, 3?
Some sort of major disasters to minor disasters within the span of 10 days. And there's still no leader of the FAA. What is happening? What is happening?
Well, we've got that one guy from the real world. Come on now.
Yeah, he'll handle this. I'm sorry. Yeah, he
Child,
really.
this is the way shit works now. We're going to be bringing this into you through little clips, and I want to make a shout out to my boy Rob. Thank you for being here. And shout out to my brother Liam in the tech sound room, because Lord knows you can't make this shit happen without the men.
We love you. You're
Well,
a genius.
Power to the people, and we're going to throw out a little bit of love from one of my favorite pianists, actually here in Barcelona, Giovanni Guizzani, and we'll be right back on the flip side. Bye, everybody.
Adios. Hasta
Peace.
luego.